else. And if Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon, I want America to be the nation that leads the way. And that's what's going to happen.
We just had a beast October. Bitcoin peaked at $70,000. And yes, it's dropped a little bit, but I think that's just because of the election. I think a lot of people don't really know who's going to win. And so no one's chucking in more money. We'll see what happens. The interest rates are coming down. The money supply will continue to increase. And we will get closer and closer to dollar debasement. Well, who is better, Trump or Kamala? Well, I would have to say that Trump is a bit more of a pro-crypto guy. He's showed support for Bitcoin, going to the Bitcoin conference, stating that they would not be selling the 210,000 Bitcoin that the US holds, and that actually they're going to continue to build it up as a strategic reserve. He's suggested that he wants to keep American businesses that use Bitcoin or are Bitcoin businesses in America. He doesn't want them to have to flee with all this regulation suppression.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else.
And yeah, it just seems a lot more crypto friendly. He also, one of the key things that he said he would do is fire Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC.
Day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
Now, the SEC has been going after crypto exchanges, crypto in general, sort of trying to very aggressively regulate that crypto space. How much effect does it have on Bitcoin? That's debatable. It's more the fact that there's clearly an anti-crypto movement coming from the Democratic side. And so a firing of Gary Gensler is a big deal and something that I think should happen. I think he's been way over the top. He's very anti-free market. I think if anything, he's just a puppet. He was once pro-crypto and now suddenly he's changed in the last 4 years. And now Trump's tax policies. He advocates for no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, Social Security, and potentially reducing capital gains tax, which would help Bitcoin. He plans to fund the government by taxing imports through tariffs rather than taxing domestic earnings. So I think Trump adopting that whole Bitcoin strategic reserve will sort of drive demand and adoption, not just by buying up more and more Bitcoin, which will drive price, but also encouraging other nations and other countries to jump on board and sort of follow suit. Now, Kamala's potential impact on Bitcoin, I think, could be negative. I think that, sure, maybe in the long term, things sort of settle and Bitcoin continues on its path. But I think the initial crypto suppression of what she's been doing the last 4 years could have an impact short term. I think there would be less of an asset boost price for stock markets, for crypto, for Bitcoin, all these things. I think that they were anticipating a Trump win. And now for a shock in the market, something that is unknown, something that sort of came out of nowhere, I think that could cause a massive sell-off. I think whenever the market is hit with something that they didn't expect, then there's a sell-off, or at least there would just be a flat line, blood in the water potential scenario. I think she's being a lot more reactive. I think she's only talked about it as soon as she realized, oh, I've lost a lot of crypto voters because I haven't talked about this, or maybe I've come across as sort of negative in that sense. And so randomly, about 40 days left to the election, she suddenly switches. We're going to be involved with AI technology, with blockchain technology and crypto. And it's like, start the gap. But I think short term it's going to trade sideways if she wins, and potentially some downside. Overall, it will be fine, guys. It's just initially, I think we want that Trump 4 years of just assets going to the moon, of economy stability, maybe starting to make a dent in the $35 trillion in debt in the US government. And I think a good way that Trump could potentially, I don't think entirely fix that whole thing because that's a huge problem. I think he could just reduce their spending And I think the way he can do that is going on a Bitcoin standard, something like the gold standard before 1971, where all your cash is tied to something. And this would be tied to something with a fixed supply, which I think would be obviously the first time in history, but something that could really help reduce that $35 trillion and actually give the chance for the GDP to actually eat into that debt and start taking chunks out. Could even be a way to avoid this hyperinflation. Will both parties continue to print? Yes, I think they will. That might be the only option they have. Slash, why would you stop doing that? It's like a superpower. And yeah, so at the end of the day, Bitcoin's going to do its own thing. It doesn't need Trump. It's not relying on Kamala, whatever. It's going to continue to be the best asset to hold now and forever. And I think this will just be a blip in space and in time. But with saying that, I think to boost adoption, to boost, yeah, Bitcoin going mainstream, I think you'd want something like Trump, someone like Trump to win, and for Trump to run 4 years, building the strategic reserve, promoting businesses involving Bitcoin in America, keeping things like mining, Bitcoin mining in America, not forcing these people to move elsewhere. All those things are positive things. Why would you not want to vote Trump for crypto if you're a single issue voter? And then also look at the last 4 years in America, what that's been like for the economy, which is just, it's been absolutely cooked Bicky. And so my final thoughts though would be, don't rush into this period thinking that you can trade it all and time it all. And, it's definitely going to go up or it's definitely going to go down. Look, you can take that risk, but no, that is a bit sussy. I would rather just go dollar cost average, stick to your plan, stick to what you usually do. Don't have this impulsive trading, focus on the long-term investment, forget the whole high time preference. I want, this crazy trade now. Look at the long term, stack sats, get as much as you can. And yeah, so thanks guys for watching. And we'll see what happens.